honestly, I don't remember. I don't remember not knowing him. That maybe speaks louder than the first time I met him. But I know that we hit it off from the get-go. We served together in the boardroom for a number of years. Had just an amazing relationship. We were always on the same side of the issue, no matter what it was. So we did a lot of planning, and we did a lot of talking on the phone before meetings so that we knew we were on the same page.
You know, first time I ever met Doc, it was my first year of being president of Wyoming. And of all places, I met him with Scott and Justin in a bar shooting pool, which probably doesn't surprise anybody. But we started to get to know each other at that point in time. That was really when I started going to the RMATA on a regular basis. Then as things progressed, we were always friends because we're from the small states. We kind of felt like we needed to band together a little bit, and we developed that brotherhood. And with that, it got to the point where when we talked to each other personally, it was, brother, how are you?
So the first time I met Doc was probably 2011, 2012, somewhere along those lines. I was at the time, relatively young, dumb athletic trainer, didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I said, yeah, sure, I'll help out with some RMATA stuff. And Doc was in the boardroom and was just probably the most welcoming, friendly face and voice that I'd encountered in professional service, and it was just so comforting to know that you had an ally on your side.
So Tim, I don't remember the first time I met Tim, because he just kind of was so gregarious and just happy and stuff. He's a great man. And very supportive of whatever you were, whoever you were. He didn't really care who you were, where you were. He just took you in, showed you around, and made you feel good about yourself, and did really good stuff. So I loved him from the very start, like a brother.
I was the head athletic trainer in El Paso at NATA High School, and I went over and met Doc, and we had one thing in common, Ron Carroll. Ron was a classmate of mine at ISU, and so we had immediately a connection because of that. So from that point on, Doc and I became friends. Fast forward till 2005, and I became the salesperson for Alert Services. I reached out to the Las Cruces Public Schools, and I got Doc and Daryl Wooten to jump on board with Alert Services. And from that day on, Las Cruces Public Schools and Alert Services have been a one-time thing and solid as gold.
I first met Doc as part of my Practicum 2 experience. If you know what that means. And so that was just a rotation where we got an opportunity to go out to each of our potential clinical sites, and we got to interact with the athletic trainer there. So we went to Mayfield High School and just spent a few hours kind of hanging out. And for better or worse, I was assured in my own mind that there was no way I was going to Mayfield High School. That was going to be at the bottom of my list. And years later, I regretted that knee-jerk reaction.
So the first time that I met Doc, I was a student in the program at NMSU, and immediately he took me under his wing, and he was like a second father at that point. And so when we were Practicum 1s, he wanted people to help work a junior wrestling tournament at Mayfield. And we sat against the athletic training room door and watched NASCAR the entire time, and he showed me what NASCAR was all about.
First time I met him, I was a freshman at New Mexico State University. And we had to do our clinical site visits, before we were admitted into the actual athletic training program. So we had to go to all 5 sites, and of course Mayfield High School was one of them. And that's the day that I first met Tim. And he just had a way about him that you could tell that he loved his profession.
What did Doc mean to me? He meant New Mexico to me. He meant RMATA to me. But more than that, he meant a friend and a confidant. When we were both no longer in the boardroom, and then once he started his battle and couldn't come around, he was typically my first text in the morning on my birthday. Mm-hmm. He was a phone call some other time during the year. And he and I tried to keep in contact with one another no matter what. The last time I saw him was when we were with RMATA in New Mexico, and a group of us. He couldn't come to us, and we went to him. And I just cherish sitting in his living room, trying to make sure that I didn't bring anything into the house. I didn't want to be responsible for him getting sick. Him telling me to take that damn mask off and refusing to go around him because I couldn't play a role in him not being around.
When we were together, it was, we became brothers. And, he was, to me, he was that mentor. He was that sounding board. He was that guy that you could just know was there, could listen to you. And I saw all the people around him that he's mentored and that he's helped along in their career. And for me, that's a guy I wanted to be around all the time. Over and above, he was just an awesome, awesome guy. We had so many great times in RMATA meetings, at the NATA national conventions. So many laughs, so many inside jokes.
Yeah, I mean, Doc is just, he's the quintessential advocate for the profession, and just the salt of the earth kind of advocate, and just the friendly but passionate way that he welcomes everybody into the family, but then challenges you to just leave it better than you found it. And, it's sad to think that while he may not physically be there anymore, he's always a part of the RMATA, he's always a part of the profession, and his legacy is going to live on because the way he's touched the lives of so many athletic trainers.
So Tim was a great guy, and he was very welcoming. When I went into the RMATA Hall of Fame, he's the one that recorded my video and interviewed me, recording it and that kind of stuff. So again, I feel like he's interviewing me again. So Tim, brother, you got me going again.
Doc is a member of the athletic training family, and that is a kindred group. From a very young age, as we enter college, until the time that we pass, we share certain things with certain people. And I shared a part of my life that I hadn't shared with others when my partner was head coach at Mayfield. That was just part of my life that I didn't share with other people. Doc never held that against me, never judged me, and it was a moment, and it's something that I have cherished and will cherish for a long, long time.
Doc and I had kind of a slow burn. I was at Las Cruces High School, which meant, unfortunately for me, that Daryl Wooten was my guy. And, of course, there's a little bit of Cruces versus Mayfield in there. And so we like to joke about that quite a bit. Right? What are you doing at Mayfield? What are you doing at Las Cruces? But Doc was pretty skilled. We were really lucky to have a group of human beings in our lives that cared about us. And they wanted us to be good athletic trainers. They wanted us to be good human beings, and they were attentive to both. And Doc, through the years, even though he wasn't my preceptor, he took a vested interest in me and how I was progressing. And so it was great. It was the pre-supervision days, and so athletic training students had a lot more runway than they have today. And all the preceptors in our program were very comfortable with the notion that you're going to see Daryl, you're going to see Doc, you're going to see Jim, you're going to see Alan Russell. Just be a good steward, take care of your student athletes, and do what Doc says, right? Do what Alan says, do what Daryl says, do what Jim says. And so for me, Doc was fantastic in some of my early experiences when I quite clearly didn't know what I was doing, but he let me do it nonetheless. We had some unbelievably chaotic situations in my Mayfield Cruces days, and he was a perfect mentor. He was a perfect Trojan along the way, and he let me figure out how to be an athletic trainer while being there to support me. He let me fail, he let me succeed, and there was a nice midline between the two. Mentorship and friendship, I think, in a unique way, he had really good sort of capability for both.
So Doc was the one that showed me how to represent everything for athletic training. He was the first person I called. I mean, he was a dad. He's the reason that I do the things that I do right now.
I was going to be an athletic trainer. I knew that my junior year of high school. So this is 2 years before I ever met Tim. But I have 3 mentors that I think are the biggest influence on my professional life. One being Daryl Wooten, Michael Larry, and of course Tim Acklin. And he was probably the biggest of the 3. Without him, I wouldn't be in athletic training today. And I for sure wouldn't be volunteering at the leadership level of athletic training. That was his biggest thing. And I'm sure somebody else has mentioned that, but he had his soapbox, he'd stand on it, he'd preach about how you needed to give back to the profession of athletic training. You know, he was unfortunate that he lost a couple of athletes at Mayfield High School. And, you know, it choked him up every time he talked about it. So back in 2019, we had a sophomore baseball player, straight A student. He was number 1 in his class. It is 8 a.m. He's walking out of his house, getting ready to put his backpack in the car, go to school, when a drunk driver came flying by his house at 85 miles an hour, sideswiped him into his own car, and he didn't survive the trip to the hospital. That was crushing for all of us as in high school. By this time, I'd lost my parents. You know, I lost my mom young, I lost my dad 12 years ago. And the only person I can think to call was Tim Acklin. I knew he'd been through it. He helped me through that experience, and that's just priceless. You know, not having my own parents, and you'll hear it from a lot of people in New Mexico, he was the surrogate father of New Mexico athletic trainers. He was definitely that for me as well. So, I can't talk enough about what his friendship meant to me.
I miss him dearly, and I had been thinking about him right before his passing and thinking I need to call. I did reach out and try and didn't get a response, but it had been a ways before. But I think I would like to leave one message that if you get a prompting, you need to call and you need to talk to somebody. Don't let anything get in the way.
I'm thankful that a week ago I got to talk to him, and I could hear in his voice, but again, it was as soon as he answered the phone, he's like, "How you doing, brother?" He'll be forever missed in my heart, but he will always be in my heart. And I'm so grateful and thankful and blessed to have had him in my life. He helped me improve as a professional, and he's a big reason that I'm in the RMATA Hall of Fame.
Last time RMATA was in Albuquerque, we came over and saw you. And you both had some little health issues at that time, so I knew it was coming, and I wanted so bad to be able to be at the services for him and that kind of stuff, so when I got the call that he had passed last week, and the services probably be about a week later or so, wouldn't be able to make it because I'd be here, I felt really, really bad.
Doc likes to tell stories, and he told us a lot of stories. And I kind of thought, like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But at the end of the day, I found myself with Doc clearing hurdles. We're just cleaning up the track. We're doing the things that you're supposed to do. I say that in part because of just the ethic of those people at the time. And I felt like we had a good day. We did a good job. And at the end, he gave me the fingers, like, get over here. I went over and he sat me down and he just delivered a compliment. And he just said, "I really appreciate what you did today. You took care of your athletes. You took care of your cohort. You helped me, and I'm really appreciative of that." And it's kind of a benign compliment, but I think Doc had a bit of an understanding that I could probably be an okay athletic trainer, but maybe I need a little help on the human side, and I will never forget that.
Tim, I love you dearly, and family, if there's anything we can do, we're always here for you. I knew a lot about you because he always spoke highly of you, and God be with you.
Again, I'm just so blessed and thankful that he was a part of my life. And with that, rest in peace.
Just we're all going to be better athletic trainers because of who Doc was, and the challenge for all of us is to leave it better than we found it, because Doc certainly did.
We love you. If you ever need anything from us, just got a call. All we need is just a notice from somebody. Need something, we're there for you.
It's a moment in thoughts of Doc, how he accepted me.
If I wanted to say anything to Doc's family, fantastic. I was fortunate. Courtney was with us at New Mexico State University, and she was above board. She understood things that other students, quite frankly, struggled with. And I am forever thankful for the ethic of the Acklins. They were perpetually supportive. They understood athletic training. I know that they gave up a lot in terms of allowing Doc to do the job that he did. I'm sure he spent countless nights, countless days, countless weekends away from them. And I guess I would like them to know that for us as students or the people in his sphere, we're forever thankful for their ability to share him with us. I often think about, I used to call him Tough Acklin, Tim Acklin. Remember Tough Acklin? It was this joke. And I think it kind of rings true to this day, right? Tim was a slow burn. He had an effect because he cared about human beings, not just the people that he was responsible for, but everyone kind of in his sphere, and just seeing what's happening today and this week is evidence of that. So I would just like to say thank you. Thank you for sharing Tim with us. And there's something very cool about who you are as an Acklin and what that means to not only you, but to so many people.
You were a second father to me. Courtney, John Ann, Dusty, I love you guys. You have no idea what he meant to me. Like, there's a hole without him here.
I don't reach out to people the way I should. I just wish I had that one last conversation with him. You know, last time I talked to him was about 3 weeks ago, and we knew he wasn't doing well. I should have made that better effort to talk to him more after that. And if I could tell him, I just want to apologize for not reaching out more. We should have talked more. I know his family. You know, I know Courtney, Dusty, and John Ann, and I want to tell them that Tim is very special to me, and he always will be. And if any of you need anything, you get a hold of me, and I'll be right there for you.
We love you too, Sir Doc. We love you. Thank you.